All right, so now that we have the outside of the color wheel finished, we now understand how to mix between two primary colors to get the other colors and the other hues that we see. Now we're going to try mixing across. So instead of mixing sideways, we're mixing across the color wheel. So for the rest of the assignment, you'll be mixing green and red together, coming in this way, yellow and violet coming in towards the middle here, and you'll be mixing orange and blue together, coming in this way. I'm just going to show you the orange to blue, and then you can do the other two the same way. Because we're on our color wheel assignment, the rule is we're only using red, yellow, and blue paints. You might be tempted to use the other colors for this part, but I really encourage you to learn how color mixing works by only using those primary colors. So I need to start by mixing an orange. So I'm going to take clean water and I'm going to drop a few brush loads onto the yellow paint, and then also some into the red. I'm using that one, and then I'll drop more water onto the blue paint as well. So I'm just loading up the brush and dropping the water onto the mixing paints just to get them wet so they'll stir easily. Always start with your yellow. That's the most easily contaminated by the other colors. I'm twisting sideways so I don't ruin my brush. Okay, and I want to make sure I have plenty here so I can mix all the colors that I need. Okay, now yellow is easily overpowered by the red, so I'm not going to use as much red to make my orange. Before I go into the red, I'm rinsing my brush out. I'm going to grab some red, stir it in, and you can see even just that little bit of red, and already I have a nice orange going. Okay, next up, I'm going to take my blue, rinsing it first in my dirty water, stir the blue, and then I'm going to bring that out right here, and I want to make sure I have plenty so I can do all the mixing I'd like to do. Okay, so since I have the blue on my brush, I will start with the blue, and what I want to do is I need to mix the opposite color, orange, into it just a tiny bit. I don't want to use too much of it. So I'll clean out my brush. I'm going to go pick up some of the orange, and I'm just going to stir that into some of the blue. Notice I'm not stirring it into all of the blue. And my goal is to stir in just enough blue that it looks like a blue, but it's kind of a brownish blue. It's not completely brown. It's still on the blue side of brown. That one goes right here. It should still look like a blue, but it should be kind of a dull brownish or grayish blue, not a very pure blue. Okay, now next up I'm going to take more of my orange, and I'm going to stir it in there, and I'm just going to try and see if I can get something that doesn't look like an orange or a blue, something that's just completely neutral, a brown or a gray, and I think I'm there. So this one's going to go in the middle. So this one should look like a gray or a brown. You should not be able to look at it and go, oh, that's kind of an orange, or that's kind of a blue. It should be completely neutral. Now if I keep adding orange to this blue, I might never get to the color I want here. This one I want it to be an orange with a tiny bit of blue mixed in. I'm rinsing out my brush, and I'm looking over here. I notice that I kind of have that going right here. I kind of already got some blue in there. So I'm starting to have an orange that changes. I'm just going to grab a tiny bit more blue and add to it. And my goal is to get something that looks like an orange, but it's really on the brown side of orange. And it looks like I have it right there. Okay, so the trick to getting this to work with your paints is to not try to mix in too much of the other color at once. You want to do it really gradually. And if you make a mistake, you can always let it dry, repaint it on another piece of paper, and you can cut it out and glue stick it in place. If you feel like your colors are too light, like this one, I think I had too much water on my brush. One tip, and we're working on just cardstock, so this isn't really the best watercolor paper, so this kind of works but doesn't really. Only do this if you feel like you really need to. Like if it's just too much water and not enough paint, you can just push straight down with a clean piece of paper towel, let it dry for a few minutes and try again. And I think I might do that with this one just because it just had too much water on the brush and went on too light. So I'm going to just mix up more orange. Oops. So I'm just going to grab some more and put more yellow in there. Rinse it, get a teeny bit more red, put that in there. Mix it right into that brown. Hopefully that's a little bit thicker, not quite as light, maybe, we'll see. And then I'm painting this on top. The problem with doing this too much is the paper starts to fall apart. So if it's starting to turn into a mess, just stop, let it dry, paint it on another piece of paper, and then just glue stick it in place later. All right, so that's how we're working with the middle section. So you'll need to figure out, just based on the instructions I've given, you know, this one's going to look like a green, but it has a tiny bit of red in it. This one will be a red with a tiny bit of green in it. Same thing with the blue and the purple going towards the middle. Have fun with your painting.